So let's take a look at orbitals now. So each subshell is made up of orbitals, and an orbital can hold a maximum of 2 electrons, and those electrons will have opposite spins. Let's take each subshell in turn. So we'll start with the S subshell. So the S subshell is spherical in shape, and it's just made up of one orbital. So if you imagine it being like one carriage on a roller coaster, so it's a roller coaster that's just made up of one carriage, and that carriage will hold 2 people, which means that the S subshell can just hold 2 electrons. So 2 electrons in the S subshell. Let's have a look at the P subshell. We can see there that the P subshell is made of 3 orbitals. So moving on to the P subshell, there's an image showing the shape of the P orbital, so looking different to the S orbital, and the P subshell is made of 3 orbitals. Remember, each orbital can hold 2 electrons, so it's a slightly larger roller coaster with 3 carriages. So the P subshell will hold a total of 6 electrons. So the P subshell, 3 orbitals, each holding 2 electrons, so 6 electrons in the P subshell. Let's move on to the D subshell. You can see getting slightly larger now. The D is made up of 5 separate orbitals. So the D subshell, there's a little image showing the different shapes of the D orbitals. So 5 orbitals, so 5 carriages, each holding a maximum of 2 electrons, so the D subshell can hold a maximum of 10 electrons. So 10 electrons in the D. And finally, F. Not often at A level will we enter into the F subshell. We can see there it's made of 7 orbitals. So the F subshell, let's have a look at some F orbitals, 7 of them, aren't they pretty? Each holding a maximum of 2. So quite a lengthy roller coaster train now. So each of those orbitals able to hold 2 electrons. Hopefully we've got 7 carriages there, which means a maximum of 14 electrons in the F subshell. So F subshell, 7 separate orbitals, 14 electrons. So finally on this page, we represent electrons by arrows quite often, and the direction of the arrow denotes the spin. So normally if we had one unpaired electron, you often see them drawn in boxes. We'll just see an arrow normally going up and a pair of electrons, so one will have spin up, the other will have spin down.